Hello, I am LaTousha Daniels, and I have the privilege of serving as the president and CEO of the Miami Children's Initiative. And it's located in the beautiful city of Miami, but more specifically, a sub-city, some would even suggest a subculture called Liberty City. You see, if you were to pull your phones out and to do a search engine or social media query, the narrative of those queries would return negative portrayals of Liberty City. You would see that even in you doing the query, how many of you in this room have ever heard of Grand Theft Auto, the video game? Well, I want you to know that the narrative that has been written about Liberty City has been written in a way that even the gaming community has taken a hold, that you have Grand Theft Auto, the Liberty City story. But by creating this narrative is being written in a place that I was born, a place where I was reared, a place where I learned to ride my bike, a place where I got my first kiss, even I was baptized. It was there in Liberty City. But somebody else is writing that narrative. Somebody else is writing that story. But this story is not unfamiliar to anybody in this room today, because at 6 o'clock when you turn on the news, you hear this story, that these are people, that people have been shot and murdered. And I want you to know the first week in April, when I was announced as the new CEO, in my first week, 4 children that are a part of my program were murdered. And so my first week, I had to spend that time creating a funeral. The reason I'm standing here today because I want you to know that there is a real story, a real narrative that is not different from any urban community or any urban core that you reside in. The statistics are the same, that the population is just under 40,000, but the median income is right around 21,000. And as I shared with you the story right behind me, one of my students, 17 years old, was shot and murdered my first week. But I want you to know that James Baldwin said it this way, and he couched it to say that if you're born in a situation, the nature of that situation will overtake you. And if you've been taught that you were inferior, you will act inferior and you will live inferior. But yet I believe, people, that we can change the narrative of urban cores. I believe and I know and I bear witness that we are collectively changing the lives of children and families there in Liberty City. And we're transforming them through partnership there in Liberty City with residents, youth, religious communities, schools, and business and other nonprofits. What do you mean? I want you to understand, because we recognize that there is a return on the investment. There is an ROI. But what do you mean, LaTousha, a return on my investment? The return simply may be the ultimate, because the life you save may be your own. What do you mean by that? The life I save may be my own. Simply put, if you invest in brick and mortar, then you have the potential of just having a pretty building. But when you invest in the lives of family, you prevent the opportunity of that child or that person robbing and killing you. So we have an ability to write a new narrative. And how do we do that? Because in the urban core, some may perceive it to be socialist in its agenda, but I believe many of you flew here. And one of the things in FAA is a socialist organization, because they teach us in those first few minutes that if this plane shall lose pressure, the first thing you will understand is an apparatus will fall from the ceiling. You are to put that apparatus on your face and then help your neighbor. And so then if that's the case, we can change the narrative, because we're all on this plane called life. We're all growing and going to a destination. I want you to know today that we can change this narrative, not through gentrification, not through just forms of building brick and mortar, but we can change the lives of young people by investing in the lives. Because I have come to understand that the real Liberty City are survivors. There are people who are working hard. There are tax-paying people. They want to own homes. They want to do better. Last but not least, if you give a man a fish, and I'm going to my seat, you feed him for a day. But if you teach him how to fish, then you feed him for a lifetime. But I'm standing here today because I'm ready to tell you it's time to teach them how to own the fish pond. And as we are joining together, both investors and social justice empowerers. I want you to know through education, empowerment, and STEAM and engagement, we have the ability to change the narratives that are being written. We have the ability to be the hands and feet of God, to change the trajectory and the pathways of the journey of individuals. Our predecessors have given us a platform, and we have a responsibility to reach one and to teach one. Investment is not just, again, in brick and mortar, but we have the ability to change the lives of people. Because we can lift, we can lengthen and strengthen. This is the real story. There is a real story in every urban community and every core. Why don't you help change it? Because I am, we are, you are Liberty City. Thank you.